Okay, what we need to do now is we need to go and we need to do the pre-planning. So I've just showed you the structure of how to create an ad, but the headlines, the images, the targeting, we actually want to do on pen and paper outside of the Facebook, because you just don't want to have the stress of doing that. Some people will be super comfortable, like I am, of going in there and actually doing it on the fly, but for a lot of you, you won't have that level of comfort yet. So let's review and let's have a look here at the key things we need. So let's click that, let's edit that. So just in review, we need our privacy page, our download page, and our Facebook fan page. Before we do anything else, we need the Facebook page, download page, and privacy page. All right, so that is absolutely our core, and we've shown you how to put those together in past lessons, past weeks. Now, let's have a look at the components of an ad. Okay, so if we have, let me just bring this up for you, not there. Let's just bring up our ad. Oh, I know how to do this. No. All right, so here you have in front of you your ad component, and let's have a look at the three elements of the component. First is your headline. Okay, so here's our headline, and it's weird, right? Because we're used to having the headline up here, which is a little bit crazy. So, but that's the way they do it. So that's where our headline is going to be improved. Now, here's the thing that you want to do. You want to create 5 to 7 headlines. And the way I personally create headlines is I like going to a site like BuzzFeed or Business Insider. These are websites which are built on compelling headlines. You know, in the old days, Gary Halbert used to get me to copy headlines from the National Enquirer because, you know, the headlines are designed to catch people's attention. So I would create, and you know, yes, for all you high fact finders who are freaking out at the spelling of headline, you are able to just literally copy those headlines, and that's the way I do it. And you want to create 5 to 7, and you want to create a ticket. You know, give yourself 25 minutes to create 5 to 7 of these headlines, right? So that's the component. We don't want to create one, because if you just create one, you're a bit stonkered, right? You really are in all sorts. So that you don't have any choice. If you're creating 2, you're trying to craft the perfect ad. Here, I'm quite happy for some of these to completely suck. It doesn't matter. But if you do 5 to 7, you'll get that. You also then you need to create. Let's just get rid of this. You need to create our 5 to 7 descriptions. So just a simple paragraph. See how this is, and we're going to come back to this in a second. It's expressed in the positive. And this is important, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But we need to create 5 to 7 of these descriptions. And we've also got this further, remember the feed description link? That's where that goes, right? So we need 5 to 7 of these. Now, again, you don't have to do this this can be done on pen and paper, right? Don't do it in the thing unless you are super comfortable with doing it in the Power Editor, okay? Now, here, a few people were talking about what to use. See what Sue's done here, which she should, is she's used her ClickFunnels subdomain, right? go.eachperform.me. In this case, she used the download link I'm a huge fan initially of Learn More, but you can test. Okay, and ideally, you can use the Shutterstock images on Facebook, but you want to have 5 to 7 different images to choose from. Now, when we're looking at images, what we want to look at images, we can't use, and I'm about to go into this in detail, we can't use negativity in our Facebook ad, and I'll explain why, right? But where you can use negativity is in your photo. Okay, we can absolutely do that. So here is a poor teenager who has bonked. All right, poor teenager. Right, so that's great because that's attention getting. We slow down, everybody slows down for a car accident. They rarely slow down for a beautiful sunset. Okay, so that is where we're at. So if you look at the components that we're breaking down, we have the headline, and you want to create 5 to 7 of those. Okay, so we've got our headline, 5 to 7 of those. We want to create 5 to 7 of our news feed, our news descriptions, and 5 to 7 of our ad descriptions. Now you can see here, this is where, this is the Facebook page that we're advertising. We have our Learn More, we have our domain, and then we want 5 to 7 different parts of our ad. Okay, so that's where we're at in terms of the descriptions. So, okay, so we've got our templates. Now, what I want you to have, edit, thank you. When this lesson goes up in the implementation program, there'll be a couple of key resources I've already mentioned a couple of times in this webinar. Luke Moulton's interview is a must listen to because it talks about the whole concept from beginning to end in great detail and talks about some of the theories behind it. And also, the other thing is now I've shown you how to do it, but I'm also going to put links to the Facebook lead tutorials. Okay, so that if you get stuck, Facebook themselves have the best tutorials going around. So you'll have links to both doing those. Now, the next question, of course, is targeting. How do we do our targeting? And unfortunately, the way targeting works is the reverse to how you should do it on pen and paper. Okay, let me explain. So if we look at this targeting pyramid here, to build most people, unfortunately, tend to start with demographics. And indeed, if you go into the process, and this is why I like you to do it here, when you go into the filtering process on Facebook, they start you at demographics. Yet what we know as marketers, the most powerful drivers and the most important fundamentals that we need to target our campaigns on are people's likes and interests. If we start demographics first, 45 to 65-year-olds, that's crazy. But unfortunately, that's the way Facebook do it. So what we have to do off planet Facebook, is we need to first create our likes and interests. So if you recall in the demonstration, I showed Rusty Brunson, okay? Because that, in a nutshell, is people who enjoy and like ClickFunnels are absolutely going to love your first dollar of the book, right? It just makes total sense. So boom, I'm done. That's all for my initial test. I need to do this. I could have also used other personalities in the field. I could use Frank Kern. I could use Brendan Burchard, and they're all in my hip pocket. Okay. Behaviors and occupations is the next thing that we want to target people on. So behaviors are sort of things like what device are they using? What movies do they like? What occupations do they have? In the advantage of the book is real estate agents. Okay, so we could use real estate agents as behaviors. And then finally, when we're looking to narrow down, and again, it's a rule of thumb, okay? Don't freak out that you can't get 100,000 exactly. What I don't want you to have is millions, okay? But our ideal is that we've got a total reach of around 100,000. If you recall, mine was just 22,000, which is totally cool because I'm in a very small market. You know, there's only 300,000 people in the internet marketing market who are active at any one particular time. So it's a very tiny, tiny world that I work in. Whereas if you're doing weight loss or wealth management or self-help, you know, these are millions, and you need to do much more refinement. So you start with your likes and interests. You then go to behaviors and occupations, and then you go demographics. So the ticket here is, you know, we're going to do 25 minutes and we're going to describe likes and interests. Then we're going to describe behaviors, and then we're going to describe demographics. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. All right, now the big key thing, tips and tricks. And most importantly, how do we know what's working and how do we know what's not working? Okay, because this is an experiment. It may not work. All right, so it's just cool, right? We're just learning, we're just testing. The key to happiness in testing, of course, is just to make sure we've got our $5 budget. Okay, you saw me do it. It's real. People don't believe it, but it's real, and that's all you need, right? Just keep it $5 a day. Just keep it super simple. You know, and as I explained, Facebook will try to help you, and later on, trust me, it's going to be awesome help. But right now, no thanks, Mark. We're just going to keep it nice and simple. Just don't, you know, one of the great phrases I heard recently, and particularly for this part of the process, more than anything else, is emulate, don't innovate. Or emulate before innovate. Emulate before innovate. Just follow exactly as I have done. No more, no less. Okay, just follow along. You can pause the videos. Just follow along and do those. No more, no less. Okay. All right. Now, how do we know if this is working or we need to do tweaks? Okay, there's a couple of key metrics. The first metric that we're interested in is the click-through rate. Okay, and we want that click-through rate to be above 1%. If it's below 1%, then our ad needs tweaking. It's just not landing with our target market. So we need to change the headline. We need to change the photo. By the way, just change one thing at a time. Okay, it only takes 24 hours to figure out whether it's biting or not. So just make one change at a time. Keep it simple. No split testing right now. We'll do all of those awesome things once we know that the market's prepared to put their hand up and give their emails. Now, the other key interesting thing, of course, is how many emails did you get? You know, over a 24-hour period, you know, we would like to see, you know, anywhere from, depends on the size of audience, like that 22,000 that you saw with me. If I got 1 or 2 people, that would be awesome. Totally cool with that, right? But, you know, you may get 5, you know, you may get 10. You know, I think the highest I've seen, the most success I've seen is 26 in 24 hours. You're not going to get inundated. Imagine, you know, because I know some of you are already thinking, hang on, Ed, you're going to ask me to personally respond to all these people? Yes, I bloody well am. And it's a miracle. It is the biggest change to my business in forever. And it results in literal miracles. I can't wait to share it with you with the next webinar. But hey, can you hear this? That is the world's smallest sympathy violin playing for you if you get 100 leads in one day. How exciting would that be? And you have to spend all day responding to people using the script that I give you. Oh, what a dreadful, dreadful thing to have a market like that. Oh, I'm so sad for you. that you've hit such a rich vein. But the reality is, you'll get between a couple, 5, 10 maybe, 26 I think is about the record that I've seen. I've seen that in a couple of different markets, 25, 26. That's sort of the area that we're looking at. So, but for right now, I've got here too. Interesting, but not important right now is the cost per lead. Like, you'll have spent X dollars on your campaign over 24 hours, up to 5. And if you get 1 email, then guess what? That's $5 a lead. If you get 2 emails, it's $2.50. If you get 3 emails, it's 3 divided by 5, etc., etc. 5 divided by 3, right? Your cost per lead is going to be interesting, right? It's not crucial right now, but it's going to be interesting because when we go forward and we look at business models and stuff, in my market, I am looking for a cost per lead of around, $3-ish. I'm very, I can pay much more than that, but I'm happy with around $3. There we have it. So, if there's that's great. I think we've now we'll go to our Q&A section of the of this workshop. But I think the best phrase that I can absolutely leave you with right now is the one I've written here at the bottom, is emulate before innovate. If I didn't do it in my demonstration, don't do it. If I didn't click it, don't click it. If I didn't select it or I didn't drop down that menu, don't you drop down that menu. Just emulate. Just emulate first. There's so many awesome things to play with. Don't. Just do what I want. Remember, we did one single ad with one single image. That's all we want to do because we want to get in the market and we want to start collecting emails. All right. And then, of course, next in our next workshop, then we're going to show you what to do with those emails. But don't wait. Just start collecting the emails and we'll get you, don't worry, we'll let you know exactly what to do with them.